Hello, this is Yehna.
And this is Jessie.
We are excited to be back with another episode. We wrestled through many different questions, but today we wanted to invite you and have a little ramble check-in about how we've been doing with all of the transition that's been coming up. So welcome and join us
At
at the
the table.
table.
Yep, May brings about a lot of transition, graduations, the end of, I don't know, a job segment, end of the school year, all that is happening. And in the midst of transitions, it's just so hard to stay present and to show up well. And so, because we're feeling that live time, we thought we'd just talk about that and share where our headspace is at. But Yana, I mean, this year is not just any other transition, aka like end of the school year. This is an end to your sped career. And how is that
Ooh,
transition of like ending your season or thinking about ending your season and starting a new one? Like, how has that all been for you? Because that's a lot. Exciting
yeah,
stuff, but there's also good things that you're leaving behind.
so true. So I've been talking to Jesse a little bit before we even started recording, and the biggest thing was how with this transition, with especially because it's a career and it's a job, I get I think I get so caught up and wrapped up in the doing and how to end it well in terms of work, like workload, what I need to get done in terms of like paperwork and like how to take things out of my classroom, transition out. But then as the year started picking up and I looked at my calendar and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my last week. I realized I've not spent time with the people that have just left such a huge imprint in my life in the past 2 years. And realizing, whoa, I don't want to say never, but I may not have this type of team dynamic in a very long time where I've just developed a sense of sisterhood and a family dynamic within my work environment, which already in itself is unheard of. And so with that in mind, I'm just hoping and praying that this next week, my last week, is just spent with a lot of good conversations and not being so fixated on being stuck glued to my desk and doing paperwork. Yes, I need to get things done, but making sure I'm present about the time that's passing by and incorporating fun things, doing snacks and day and all of those things to make it memorable before I leave. Because at the end of the day, I'm teaching because of the students, not because of paperwork. Yes, leaving that behind has been weird. And honestly, I don't think I'll fully process it till unfortunately August rolls around and I have to like enroll into my school. That's kind of where I'm at.
And I mean, people say like you don't realize how good you've had it until you've left the space and you look back.
So true.
And or even like people, like you don't realize how much that person has made an impact on your life until they're not there anymore.
Mm.
And it's like you don't want it to be the case, that case, like you don't want it to be that way, but unfortunately a lot of that is the case. And so I can tell that you're trying to stay present by like acknowledging what you've been grateful for and just trying to really let yourself soak in that. Because,
Ah,
yeah, there are a million things you have to think about and like logistical things that you have to sort out. But yeah, man, I don't know about you guys, but I can tell for the both of us, it's so hard to stay present in when seasons are ending. Do you feel like you kind of reminisce or not pre-mourn, but like do you get all sappy towards the end of transitions or are you just like kind of emotionless until it's done and you're like, let's just get through this?
mm.
What type of processor or non-processor are you?
So I'm very much a non-processor.
Okay, yeah.
I'm a keep your head low and chug through, which is ironic because I'm an emotional person. When I see someone cry, I'm gonna cry. I am
Right.
the sappy girl in a Pixar movie who bawls her eyes out because Nemo's mom dies. Like I am that person. But when it comes to my life and ending things, especially when it involves relationships, I don't do a very good job in being present. And I'm
Hmm.
sure I could go more into that, but like really that's been something I've been working on. And
Hmm.
I realized really recently, I was telling Jesse on Saturday, I was very honored and privileged to have gone to a bridal shower. And I was not super close with this person, but I just been able to be a part of a community of people like that. And I just felt so blessed in that moment. And that just made me realize, whoa, I've not sat down and thought about how sad I will be leaving such good people
Mm.
behind. Because I've just transitioned to a very amazing church. I started getting more involved. I have, like I said, amazing coworkers. And I didn't think, just 2 years ago, I told Jesse I never want to be involved. I don't want to do anything. And I just want to be in my room. I'm fine being alone. That's just I always had this unfortunate attitude about community for so long, and coming to Texas has completely changed and shifted that. I know that's all by God's grace. And so now that I'm having to move on from that, I was falling back into old habits of being emotionless and not wanting to think about it or not even thinking to think about it. And so
Mm.
I'm just now realizing in the past couple of days, whoa, I need to really be okay with the emotions that arise. Even if it means I cry at work, I don't ever do that. But if I do, I'm gonna just let it happen?
Let it flow.
Yeah. How about you,
Mm.
Jesse?
Whew, I feel like I am like a pre-mourner in that especially I think I've realized this since high school. I've had so many transitions in my life that
Mm,
I've really, really tried for some reason, right when things are about to end, that last month or two seems just so sweet. Like
mm,
everything in life is just going so well. And you're like, dang it, why do things have to finally get really good and at its peak right as it's about to end? I feel like that's just always been the case for me. And so, and I've been trying to stay as much as present as I can. But end of the year is definitely hard. There's summer to look forward to. There's new like things you want to try or new places you want to go. And
mm,
it's so hard for me. I can physically be present, but mentally, my brain is always just thinking about what's next. And I think through building roots here and knowing that I'm not leaving, I'm not having to build community again, that because I'm staying put for a while, it's given me a sense of relief in that I don't have, like, I can just be,
right.
but still, because I'm wired that way to always think about what's next, I'm trying to get myself out of that mindset. But I do this with people too. Like, for example, even with you, Yenna, I have, whenever we see each other, always a great time. But then towards the end, I start to get cold because I'm like, oh, but I have to get used to you not being close to me proximity wise anymore. So I have to not get too
Yeah.
sappy or. So I definitely notice I do that a lot in my friendships.
It's so funny. I cannot do that to myself.
That I don't know why. That's just like how I cope. And then as soon as the transition happens, I'm fine. Like, I'm in my next place and I'm trying to just build on it. I'm like, okay, it's go time. And then I don't think about it anymore, but I really marinate in it beforehand. But I can
Interesting.
tell for you, it's like
It's
once
the
you're out of it.
opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I think
Yeah.
what bothers me about that is that, again, it's that productivity, but
Mm.
it's also, I don't want to be in a new space thinking about my past.
Yeah, me neither. It just pops up.
But that's the thing is like when it pops up, can you press into it instead of ignore it? And I think that's where we've definitely grown a lot in. We're
That's so good.
letting ourselves be in it instead of like running the other way whenever that comes up.
Right.
Do you feel like that's been the case for you? Like, have you seen that part of you grow, especially as you're heading towards an end
Hmm.
of
I
something
will
big?
say, obviously, always gonna be hard on myself. I wish I was better at what I am doing, but you're right. If I were to show myself grace a little bit, I've grown so much in
Mm,
the sense that I even do that in the midst of it, like
mm,
check in
mhm,
with myself, although it's always triggered by maybe a conversation or a song or whatever. But in those moments, I'm like, whoa, I've not checked in with myself in a long time. And I think obviously it shows up for me and physically, and it like physically makes me have to slow down. But I think I do a better job in trying to come out of it because I think old me I would have just stayed sick or been like, oh, something's wrong with me. Okay, what's new? And then just stayed in it. But now I'm like, okay, Yenna's sick. What does that mean? Let's go through the checklist. What did
My
I?
body is screaming at me.
Yeah,
Let's do something about
let's
it.
do something about it. Why am I sick? And so,
Right.
although, yes, I'm not at a place where I can prevent it, but I know that I've come a long way in that when I'm in the midst of it, I'm not ignoring it
Hmm.
then either. And I think right now, the past week has been one of those moments where I'm like, okay, I've come to a place where my physical body is not okay. I need to do a little check-in with why I may be feeling this way. And
Right, right.
to be transparent, I'm not at a place where I can fully verbalize what I'm feeling, and I'm not also in the headspace where I can be with a bunch of people to comfort me about it either, because that's just not how Yana Kim operates either. And so giving myself grace in that I'm not up to the speed at which I want to be or at the place where I want to be, but also celebrating or hmm, being okay with the fact that I recognized it now. I think that's been a big thing when it comes to trying to be present. Yes, I'm not present in that I'm able to hold conversation, discuss where I'm at, and tell people about this and this and that. And on top of all the things I want to get done, like my work and my school, the TCK retreat coming up, transitioning to a whole new city. Yes, I'm not at the place I want to be, but then also recognizing that it is hard and that's okay.
Right, because in transitions, I feel like there's two types of ways of being present. We're talking about how we're frustrated that we can't be present with those around us or those in
Right.
community, but also it's so important to be present with yourself and that's where you are. And sometimes we can't even do that. And so maybe the growth point is that we're finally able to be real with ourselves. And
Yeah.
that in itself is something to celebrate and therefore to have more grace for ourselves when we acknowledge that we can't be present with friendships and with other people. So,
Yeah, and stop feeling guilty about that. I think
right.
that's been the
Which, yeah.
huge, big
Mhm.
point of, I don't want to say growth because it feels like I'm already there, but a growing point. And yeah,
Yeah.
because the moment guilt sets in, that's when, at least for me, that's when I stop processing and stop being present altogether.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because I'm like, what's the point? I would encourage people to, I know we say that a lot, be gracious to yourself. You're like, oh my God, you're just gonna make yourself soft. No, I think we
No,
already are
yeah.
very hard on ourselves. So just really taking the time to say, why am I, why are we guilty about this? We're freaking human beings.
Yeah. And even for you guys too, I'm sure if you're in a season of transition or you're not, how can we continue to be real with ourselves, be present with ourselves, and how can we show grace towards ourselves in this time? So yeah, because
Yeah,
we're definitely going through it right now and trying to end well, trying to finish strong, but realizing, it's all good.
it's all good. I think one step at a time, really.
Yeah, baby steps
Baby
for
steps.
sure.
It's your legs, especially mine. My short little legs can only take me so far, so fast, you know? I need to tell myself that I'm not superhuman. I'm just Yenna Kim working towards it. And the fact that you're walking already is okay. And you resting is being productive. Anyway, this was all over the place because our brains are all over the place, but we really just wanted to have a moment of being transparent and vulnerable with how it's been with a lot of the transition and kind of give you a little bit of an implied update of why our podcast has also been splotchy. And just thank you so much for always supporting us. I just saw the reviews or the views for our most recent episode, and I'm very encouraged because not that views matter, but it's been going up, and I've just been
What?
really, yeah, and makes me feel less alone in the topics we've been talking about. So that's been really cool to see. So thank you so much for your support and all of that, and the
Aw.
occasional words of affirmation that you guys give. It's been so awesome. Thank you. And just know that we truly appreciate all of the things that you or all the listens and sharing. And it's just been so awesome to see as we grow this little podcast community. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling. We are on Spotify and on YouTube and all our updates on our Instagram. Yes, we've been splashing on that too, but we're coming around. School year's ending and we will jump right back on it. Thank you. And we cannot wait to share more organized episodes on our next podcast. Thank you and talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.